We are so back. Welcome back to the Louisiana Delta Community College podcast. Today we are having a program spotlight with an amazing program we have here right on the LDCC Monroe campus, right down the hall.
Yes.
We're going to go through and introduce everybody, but it is the Medical Lab Technician program, the MLT program for short. We're just going to have a big conversation about all things in and out of the MLT program, what potential students would want to know, what is currently going on in the industry, just really get into the guts of it. But I'm your host, Cameron Thompson, and I'm just here to help guide the conversation. And I don't know why I'm here. I just love being here. I love being behind the mic and on the podcast.
You're the marketing girl.
I just love it. So, I'm going to start with the amazing Dr. Jones.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Dr. Jones. I am the program director of the Medical Lab Technician program. This is my third year here at Louisiana Delta Community College. And I'm really excited because we're about to welcome our third class this upcoming fall. So we use our Greek names. So we have Cohort Alpha, which is our first class that's getting ready to graduate, which Caroline is a part of. They'll be graduating in December of 2026. And then we have Cohort Beta, which they're getting ready for their second year. And Cohort Gamma will be our brand new class. So I'm really excited. I've been in the medical lab profession since 2013. That's when I started in school. That's when I started in school. So 2013, I went to Fran U, or Our Lady of the Lake College, which is what it was called. And I pursued clinical lab sciences, which is the 4-year degree of the MLT program. And I worked in the lab at Women's Hospital and Glenwood Hospital. And my mother is also a medical lab scientist. So I'm really happy to be in the profession, and it is a very rewarding profession.
So you know your stuff.
I try. When I don't, I ask Jade.
Speaking of, Jade, tell us about yourself.
Hey, everybody. My name is Jade Parker. I am a medical laboratory scientist at St. Francis Medical Center here in Monroe. So I deal with a lot of the students that come through for clinicals. Some of them with the MLT program here at Delta. We have MLS students that come through from ULM. So students everywhere. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
And how long have you been in the profession?
I have been in the profession, when did I graduate? Almost 9 years, I think. 2017.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, 2017 is when I graduated. So, and I've worked at St. Francis the whole time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you from Monroe, like your local?
No, I'm from Ville Platte, Louisiana.
Okay, all right.
I came to ULM for college, met my husband, got married, bought a
Stuck
house,
around.
Kids. Yeah. So here I am.
Well, we're glad to have you. Thank you so much for coming on today.
You.
And next we have our student representative.
Hi, I'm Caroline Harkins, and I'm a student here at Delta, and I have loved being here. I have had different educational backgrounds. I've started at a 4-year college, ended up here, and it has been amazing.
Awesome. And what year did you start school? Last year?
2 years ago.
Yes.
2020.
2024.
2024.
But I graduated in 2022, and I've kind of been college off and on.
And you're also a part of the first cohort here at Delta, right? The
first class.
Inaugural class.
Yes.
So that's pretty special. And we're excited to have you as well to come on here and talk our stuff. Now, we are kind of lining this up with a little theme because Lab Week is this week.
Yes, Lab Week is this week.
So I just want to start off like that. Like, we celebrate Lab Week every year. What is Lab Week all about?
Yeah, so Lab Week is celebrating medical laboratory professionals in the United States. And so what I love about Lab Week is that as a medical lab scientist or technician, we don't often get pushed to the forefront. We're, kind of the worker bees behind the scenes, and the unsung heroes. We're the ones that are running the specimens. We're the ones that are running your blood samples, looking at the urine, analyzing the urine, looking at stool, looking at, telling people what their blood type is and preparing blood products for surgeries and a variety of different things that happens in a lab. And so I love Lab Week because it gives the public an opportunity to get insight into what lab professionals do, and of course to celebrate our lab professionals.
Absolutely.
Not just with the little pizza party, but to truly celebrate their work and how they contribute to the entire healthcare team.
Yeah.
St. Francis does it big for Lab Week. It's always, we get catered food every
That's
day. We
great.
have a theme every year.
Lovely.
We do games. We get prizes. We always like raise money for some kind of charity. We'll either take like donations for stuff just to give back to the community. But it is fun just to spread awareness about what we do, because when people come to the hospital, they never see us. You see, if you're in the hospital, you know, you see your nurses that come to the bedside, you see your doctors, you see maybe radiology or respiratory therapy or something, the people that have direct patient contact. But the lab is also a part of that it's a big part of it. So you see, the most you really see from the lab are phlebotomists that come to the bedside and draw the blood, and then you never see, you just get results. Like, you don't know what happens to that blood. And so there's a whole, it's like pulling back the curtain at Oz. Like, it's a whole thing in the lab. So it's fun to get to celebrate that and just bring awareness to it. Because like I said, people don't really think about it. When you think about healthcare careers, that's not, because you just don't see it. So it's fun. Yeah.
So Caroline, y'all also celebrate in the classroom, right? Tell me about how that has been the past 2 years.
Honestly, it's been really fun. There's always games and different decorations, and we get to actually bring awareness where other students can actually see us because of everything that's going on. And they ask us questions and ask what we do, and we've honestly got a lot of more interest in it, which is so important.
Great.
Because it's a profession that needs more workers and needs more recognition.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. My next question is something I'm genuinely curious about when it comes to the healthcare field in y'all's like very unique position as lab techs. Even though lab techs don't always interact with patients directly, how do y'all kind of stay connected to that impact that y'all have on patients?
That's a good
I feel like
question.
it's a Jade question.
And that's very fair. So I can see how it could get lost when you just have a specimen and you don't actually see the patient because we're not at the bedside. But I try to keep that like thought in my head, like, this is somebody's mom, this is somebody's, grandmother, grandfather, whatever, somebody's family member. And I need to make sure that the results that I'm given are accurate, because if this was my family, this is what I would want. I don't want somebody just like willy-nilly turning out a result or saying something's growing on their plates and there's not anything there. Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you just have to keep in mind, like, you really have to think, this is somebody's loved one. I'm going to take the best care I can with this, and then go from there. Yeah.
Because those results really do impact a diagnosis directly.
100%. Yeah.
100%. So I would say like a trait that lab technicians, lab scientists need to have is like, be trustworthy and be accurate.
Yes.
In that same vein, what do y'all think, even as a student perspective, what personality traits and skills are like the most important for lab scientists?
I definitely think honesty and ethical behavior in several aspects of our classes. Starting from the very first class, which the first class that our students take is a class called Medical Lab Assisting in Phlebotomy. And it's if you've been through an MLS program, it's kind of like your intro to clinical lab science. It's the exact same class, except our program also trains students to be certified phlebotomists and certified medical lab assistants. So that is the first intro class. But a big part of that class is explaining medical ethics to them and really breaking down like why you have to be a trustworthy person. Some of the not just patients that come in from the hospital, but some of the things that we're reporting out, we have to follow chain of custody, because this is going to be, used in a court of law.
Oh my gosh.
And on top of that, just like Jay was saying, I treat every patient as somebody's grandma. Like how I would want somebody to treat my grandma, or how I would want somebody to treat my child. And I even remember, when I have lost, I used to work at a baby hospital. So I remember when I lost a baby. Yeah. I remember what that baby passed from. I remember so you're really not as disconnected from patients as you would think.
Right. That's very true. You see their specimens, day and day. They're testing stuff every day. And so you see their names pop up, and then one day you open the chart and you see that the patient's deceased, and that is so sad. Even if you don't see the patient like face to face every day, you're still dealing with them. You see their name, you look at their results, you're hopeful for them when things are trending, the right direction. And then when you see that they've passed away, it's sad. And it's
Very
weird
sad.
to think, like, I don't even know this person. I've never even seen their face, but you've dealt with their specimens for however long, and
you kind of are a part of their story, their
yeah,
journey.
For sure.
Yes, for sure.
That, I mean, like, you are the first person to see what's going on with this person. They
Yeah.
could come into the ER and not know a single thing about what's going on, and you are the first person to be able to, like, see what kind of diagnosis they have.
Yeah,
What illness is going on
Yeah.
with the patient.
Even before they know.
Before they know. Yeah, you can be looking at a blood smear and see somebody has leukemia. Like, you know what I mean? And that person
You
has
know before the
cancer.
doctor even knows.
Yeah,
Yes.
So that's breaks your heart, you know, especially when it's a child or something like that. That gets me.
You know, I've been kind of had some family problems, people in and out of the hospital over the past few years. And what is usually is the issue is that people just want answers, right? Like, and when they finally get that answer, that's such a, like, it's a special moment in tragedy because that's really what the uncertainty is what drives people to their emotional state.
Yeah.
For sure. What other traits for lab techs that are important to have, skills, things like that?
Yeah, we talked about being ethical. I think attention to detail, it's a very detail-oriented profession.
Yes.
You can't just, like, be kind of spacey. Like, you have to, you know, you do have to be very attention to detail oriented, even to notice things. Like, I'm a micro person and so is Jade. So, you know, like the color of something. Is something white? Is something a cream color? Is it opaque? Is it translucent?
Y'all are artists.
Like, like even just knowing that, to be able to tell or get on a path of telling what bacteria is growing on a plate, you have to, you know, pay enough attention to detail to notice those small differences between something being white and something being cream. Something being opaque, something being translucent. Like, you know, certain bacteria have certain traits and qualities. So I would say attention to detail for sure.
Yeah, and then also that for the fact that we have so many specimens that come in at one time. I mean, it's not just one patient per MLS or MLT, whatever. It is, I mean, the whole hospital is getting labs drawn. And then if you're working in chemistry, you have all of these specimens and each one has a different test to be run on it. You have to make sure labels match. You have to make sure things are getting done correctly. And it's just, it can get out of hand quick. It can get confusing quickly. So you have to make sure that you're organized. Yeah, like you're putting things in the correct way. You're doing the steps that need to be done and paying attention to what you're doing, because you can accidentally, you know, turn out the result on some, like, the wrong person or something like that. And that's would be a big deal.
Right.
So,
It really would. Cause I mean, that's a huge responsibility.
Yeah, no, for sure.
What about in students? Like, through your student journey, what traits and skills have really gotten you through the past 2 years?
Honestly, I think attention to detail, and very much going into every situation as a student as I'm taking this opportunity to learn the most that I can. And I want to see the full extent of what working in a lab looks like and how to be able to do the best for the patient.
Yeah.
Being able to process all these specimens and see all the different ways that the lab functions together as a full, like, unit for these patients every single day.
And that learning mindset will help you far past your time at school.
Yes, for sure.
Just being teachable is one of the best qualities any person can have, not necessarily just in this profession, but any person. That's all when we have students that come in, I'm like, just be teachable.
Right.
Like, be able to hear information that I'm telling you and take that as constructive criticism and use it to get better.
Absolutely.
Like, that's just
Absolutely.
and that's, again, that's for anybody in
Yeah,
life,
in
not
any
necessarily
profession.
just this. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk about real quickly something specific to y'all's profession that maybe somebody would have a qualm with if they're like, maybe this is not for me. So when y'all say specimens, y'all are talking about kind of bodily fluids, you know,
all
poop,
the things
urine.
you can pull off of a body.
Yes.
We can do something with it. Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to ask, like, were each of y'all just, like, cool with that off the bat, or did you have to get used to it?
There's still stuff I'm not cool with. There's still things that I'm just like, absolutely not. you cut off a toe and you send me the whole toe, like with the toenail on it.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That has
freaks me out.
happened?
Yes, that happened.
I've seen that.
This is why I'm not
and
in
you
this
have to like
position.
cut a little piece of tissue off of it and grind it up for us to do cultures on it.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm okay if you send me the piece of tissue already cut. Don't send me I don't want it
Right.
to look like a body part.
Well, that's just, don't
Yeah.
send me a toe. Like,
Yeah, like let's just
It happens. Yeah, it
just
happens.
cut me a piece off. And like with fungus cultures and stuff, they would send like toenail clippings. Ugh,
Yeah.
I could die. Sputums still gross me out.
Wow.
That's mine.
What? Wait,
That's-
what is?
Sputum?
that
What
is
is
mine.
like when you cough like a loogie up? You know that they'll
Whoa.
put that in a
That's
cup.
my one.
And there's something
That's
about
your
it.
one. Now
That's
you're
my
just
one.
like,
Yeah,
when-
I can deal with stool
Yeah.
all day. Sputum, I hate it.
When I
Really?
was pregnant, you couldn't catch me near sputum. I was no.
It's the
absolutely not.
consistency. The problem is
and
the
then
consistency.
the color, it gets weird, and yeah.
See, I'm probably more leaning towards the stool being the issue. I'm a very
Yeah.
smell-sensitive person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Most of the other stuff I can get past. I can
Yeah.
get past the looks and the like. That's okay. Just the smells of
Yeah.
it all.
Yeah.
sometimes
We are very fortunate to have like a fume hood that we work under at the hospital that I'm at. So we don't have to smell them, which makes it a lot
better.
better.
Yeah.
But
Thank
we
goodness for
also don't set
technology
up
like
stool
that.
cultures anymore.
Oh.
We just do the PCR stuff. So it's
Well, okay. That
So
does help.
it helps.
That
It
does help because you're not swabbing and
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into the swab of what you're swabbing, but I understand now. Like,
Yes.
it's definitely less
Yeah.
in the
definitely
nitty-gritty.
TMI if you have some medical lab technicians
Yeah.
and scientists talking about different specimen types. But to your point about what would be the one thing, for most of students, when I'm talking to them about the profession, I'd like to be very honest with them because
That's great.
I don't want them coming in thinking it's one thing and it's not.
Exactly.
You're going to be dealing with, real life human specimens. And to Jade's point, it's not just, it's also fluids like cerebrospinal fluid, pleural fluid, synovial fluid, like fluids that can come, from your joints, that can come from your, CSF. And so I just tell them the whole gambit.
Yeah.
And some people are like anti-blood people. This is not the place.
Right.
That's not-
Right.
yeah,
If
you
blood
can't
makes
handle
you
that,
pass out,
If
maybe
blood
it's
makes
not
you
for
pass
you.
out,
it's not for you.
this might not be, because you're not just dealing with blood and putting it on the instrument. That's one thing. But you're setting up blood cultures. You have to learn phlebotomy, which is actually obtaining the specimen
Right.
from the patient. Sometimes depending on where you work, you may have to do phlebotomy, you may not. Larger hospitals, you're not really doing phlebotomy. Usually they have phlebotomists. But that is a skill that you have to know how to do within the profession. My mom, I always talk about my mom because she worked at LSU Student Health, and they didn't have phlebotomists. So she has drawn her whole career. So it just really depends on where you're working. And so those are some things that I would say. If you're not a blood person, if you're not a urine person, if you're not a stool person, this might not be the place for you.
Right.
But there are other professions in allied health that might work better.
It sounds like someone needs to have just the skill to kind of separate the reality from, like look at it from a
Yes.
scientific
Compartmentalize
standpoint.
is
Yes.
important. Yeah.
That makes total sense, and that's not something I can do. So that's why I'm not in any medical
That's why
field.
she's the marketing girl.
That's why I'm
That's
in front of
why.
a computer. But we need people who can do that, y'all,
Yes.
and that's what's most important. I like even the phlebotomy thing. It's so good to be prepared to wherever you're gonna end up as an MLT.
Yes.
And I next want to talk about like more geared towards the program here. This is our clinical partner, which I'm so excited we got a clinical
Yes.
partner to come on. I love people who are
Yes.
connected to Delta coming in, talking about these kind of things. How do you adjust the curriculum, build the curriculum, like build the courses, everything you're teaching in accordance to what your industry partners are wanting and looking for?
Yeah, I think that is a really good question. So one thing that's really important with any program that you're pursuing is accreditation, right? And our program is currently, in the weeds of receiving accreditation from our accrediting organization, which is called NACLS. Within NACLS, what's really important is that you have what we call a feedback loop of feedback that you're getting from your students, but also from your clinical partners. So we have these things called advisory board meetings where we invite our clinical partners and we tell them what we're doing with the curriculum, but we also get feedback from them at the end of clinicals. So you'll be getting another survey. You'll be getting another survey.
Right.
And they, you know, we have actual, like, you know, a kind of a Likert scale, 1 to 5, you know, areas that they believe that the program can improve. But we also have space for them to just give us, you know, direct feedback with, you know, text, like write your paragraphs, you know, and we genuinely look at that feedback and we make adjustments at the end of every semester. Yeah. So that helps keep us current because, you know, we're not in the lab. So we, you know, they tell us what we need, how we need to prepare our students. And then we're in constant communication with them too. So Jade has my number.
Right. She can call you up.
So she'll tell me if something is going on with a student, but that is like, being able to work with clinical partners in that way is one of the most valuable aspects of our program because it keeps us current, but it also like just helps us like what will make us have a better experience, not just for our students, but for our clinical partners as well. Yeah. We want them to have a great experience and for our students to learn from the best. And so that just gives us an opportunity to do that.
Yeah, it sounds like students will, you know, this is the first cohort graduating this year.
Don't remind me. Don't remind me. I'm going to cry. Please.
I was here when it first started, too. I'm like, oh, my gosh, I'm a part of it. You know,
you are. You are. Absolutely. Couldn't do marketing without Cameron, man.
It was one of the first programs I ever got to promote here at Delta, like kind of just on my own. And so it was really fun. And so as like from the clinical partner perspective, you know, it sounds like the goal is for students to be job ready when they're out, when they're graduated, when they're hired, right? So as a clinical partner, what does clinicals like look like, I guess? Because that's the part I never get to see. I see them in the classroom, but I never get to see clinicals, you know?
So clinicals are for you to apply the information that you learn in the classroom because there's a lot of book stuff that you have to learn and then apply that to actual patient care at the hospital or wherever you are at the clinic. So for me, when I have students, I just take them through my day-to-day. Like, you're going to sit down with me. This is what we're going to do. We're going to read. I work in the micro department, so we look at cultures, and so you're going to look at those with me. I'm going to ask you questions about what we're looking at to try to apply that information to see if you know that information, because it is so important that you do. And then kind of let you know what you need to work on, what you do really well and that you're great at. And then just try to be with them. Like, for me, students, I feel like, are always so worried about making mistakes at clinicals. And my thought is, this is the time to make a mistake. Like, I mean, not like a huge mistake, you know what I mean? But like, if
you're not on the payroll, you know,
make a mistake, it is going to be at clinicals, and that I am watching the students when they're with me. And if you make a mistake, it's because I wasn't paying close enough attention. You know what I mean?
Right. You take responsibility
but also, like,
over
this
that.
This is the time to learn from those mistakes. That way, when you do get a job, you don't do it again.
Yeah.
And so I feel like students are always so worried about that. And for me, clinicals is your time to maybe make a mistake if it's going to happen. But again, we work in healthcare. Like, we are always with our students. The mistakes that are made are never life-threatening. They're always, you know, just learning opportunities.
You wouldn't put that responsibility in the hands of a student a life or death situation decision.
Yeah.
I want to get to the clinical student experience, but before I go there, I wanted to ask you, why do you do clinicals? Because I feel like hospitals don't necessarily have to, they don't necessarily have to. Why do you do it? Why do you put it in that extra for this program for the community?
St. Francis is a teaching hospital, so we have lots of students that come through from the different schools in the area. Nursing, the VCOM students, the MLS, MLT students. There's a lot of people that come through, so we kind of don't have a choice. But even if we did have a choice, I love to teach the students that come through. I really appreciated the people that taught me when I was a student, and I really enjoy it. I like it keeps me fresh with the didactyl stuff that you forget it if you don't use it, you lose it, and so it keeps me kind of up to date when I can be with the students and do stuff like quiz them on things,
right?
And I just like to be a part of somebody's educational journey. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's fun.
Kind of
It
giving
is
back
fun.
to
yeah,
the.
it is fun for me. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I
and
enjoy it.
So, Caroline, you've been in and out of clinicals, for the past 2 years. Tell me about your experience.
I love clinicals. I love learning new things. Clinicals is the time to ask all of your dumb questions.
All the questions.
Every
yeah.
single one.
Yeah.
Figure out different instrumentation, how different instruments work, because they can be the chemistry analyzer, but it looks different in every single different hospital, and how the whole lab functions as a whole. But being able to go and learn and actually see specimens that are real time and being able to help those people in real time is something that I'd love doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that so much. And it also just gives you, it's like practice work. Like you're
Yes.
Yes.
practicing
Yes.
going
It is
to
practice.
work
Yeah,
every
it
day,
is.
you know?
Yeah.
And it's a job interview. I tell students all the time.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Absolutely.
It's a job interview. If you and it's really like a double-sided job interview because students get to see the type of labs, especially if they get to go different places, the type of labs that they enjoy and the type of work environment that they enjoy, the type of flow that they enjoy, the departments that they like. That's how I discovered, I really love micro. Like, I just love being in micro. And I'm not a big chemistry person. I'm not a big chemistry person. But, I got a chance to learn that while I was in clinicals. But it's also a chance for the lab managers and the preceptors to see, like, oh, I love the student.
Yeah.
Like, if she wants to come here, like, hire her.
She's got a job ready.
She's got a job.
Yeah.
And so it's really a year-long job interview. That's why I always tell my students, if you're going to be at one place for a year or even for a semester, you need to do your best. You need to show up. You need to be on time.
Yeah.
Because they know now it's not up in the air. They're not hiring some random person that just applied online.
Right.
They're hiring someone that they've seen in their facility that knows their facility. So that also, contributes to your own training.
Yes.
Now her training can be shorter because
It's easy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She already knows
And
what to do.
they do ask the clinical instructors like opinions before they hire people. Oh, Jade, you had this student. Like, what did you think about them?
Yes.
That's so good to be affirmed in
It is,
that.
yeah, it is. So it's definitely double-sided too, though, because as a student, you can go in to a clinical site and be like, I am not working here. Like,
Right. It's an interview for them, too.
Yeah, so yeah, it's definitely double-sided, and
Yeah.
I think that's good to be able to see different, like she was saying, hospital environments. There's some small hospitals, and that's not for me. I don't want to stick anybody. I don't want to have to go draw blood, bring it back to the lab, run it, result it. I don't want to do all that. I like a larger facility with a full-time phlebotomy staff. I like the workload that comes with a larger facility. But some people like a smaller setting, and I think it's great to see.
Yeah, I actually do have a friend who's an MLA. Well, she's getting her MLA certification. She's been a phlebotomist forever, but has just been working in the lab. And she works at a rural hospital, and she likes the downtime, and she likes the FaceTime with patients, to stick them. So everybody's different
There's
in that way.
settings for everybody, and I think it's fun to see the different opportunities you could have, like just depending on where you go.
And you can travel. You can become a travel tech as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of opportunities, I want to know, and Jade probably has a ton of insight on this, but y'all probably also learn in the classroom as well. Where can you go once you get your MLT? What are the possibilities?
Okay. Go ahead, Jay.
So, what do you mean? Where can you go? Like,
I guess
like
what is the
career
next?
rise or like
Could you go get your doctor? I mean, or your master's, or that kind of thing, and then also like what other career options could you explore? Like, I guess what have you just seen people do with the MLT? Like from
you
there,
might be better suited to answer this because I'm not quite sure about the MLT.
That's a good question. We actually got this question recently. So MLT and MLS are very similar. They have the exact, almost identical classes that they have to take. The major curriculum difference is lab management. And it just also depends on where you go to school, but lab management is always like the difference in the classes that you have to take. Now, we encourage our MLTs to pursue their MLS. There are many programs, including one that we're connected with at UAMS. It's an institution in Arkansas that has an online MLT to MLS program.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a bridge.
Online.
And as long as you are a working MLT, you can go pursue your online MLS degree, and where you work will serve as like your clinicals for that.
Fabulous.
McNeese in Louisiana has also just launched their MLT to MLS program, and so some of our students are looking into that. And the good thing about becoming an MLS is that there are a lot of different paths. So shameless plug to our lovely student Caroline, who is simultaneously getting her bachelor's degree and associates
Hold on a
at
second.
ULM right now.
Tell me about that.
yeah.
Walk me through that.
So in 2020, I started out at ULM, and then life kind of happened, but I was very close to getting my bachelor's degree. And then I took a step back from school for about a year and a half. Then Delta opened their program, and I knew that this was my opportunity to do what I wanted with my life.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
So I jumped at the shot, and then working with our teachers, they found a different route for me to take to be able to take my MLS BOC, and that was me finishing up my bachelor's degree. And so I've just been taking a couple classes extra a semester, and I'm taking 2 over the summer, and I should be done with it by this summer.
That's
So
Yes.
cool.
you'll have your technical degree in May, and then in August you'll be having your bachelor's degree in MLS.
Actually, she's getting her MLT. She'll graduate in December with the MLT.
okay.
But she'll be done with her bachelor's degree in the
Before.
summer. So she's going to walk, like her graduation weekend will have 2 graduations in December. She'll graduate from ULM like on the Saturday, and then she'll graduate from Delta on the Sunday.
We
is so
have
cool.
Yes.
we are. I have to talk about that like
Yeah.
so much. Wow. How are you managing the workload of both things right now?
And she's in clinicals.
Honestly, having a really good support system. My husband is a real one. We're taking most of the load of all of normal life when I get home. But I mean, honestly, it's just everyone that truly believed in me, that felt like I could go and do this and achieve my goals in any way possible. So honestly, really thank you, Dr. Jones.
Don't do
Like,
that.
I just should put tissues in the middle of the table here.
Yeah, but she's amazing. She's an amazing student.
You have to be doing all that.
You know,
Yeah.
she the thing that I always tell all my students, I definitely have told her, but they can do anything that they want to do. There's no limits, you know, and so I hope that they, you know, believe that about themselves. Like, if, you know, and she talked about the staff, like our faculty, Ms. Fuller, she was the one that actually looked at their different routes on ASCP's website and said, oh, she could do this, you know, because we try, when we advise the students, we really try to be individualistic to their situation
and future oriented.
So you know, to me, it didn't make any sense for her to do this program and then go into an MLT to MLS when she had almost finished her MLS.
Right.
Like, you know, so we and I have other students in her class that are excited about doing their MLT to MLS, you know, and that is the right path for them. So it really just depends on the student. But we are very proud, very, very proud.
I'm proud. That is so awesome. I couldn't imagine doing bachelor and technical degree at the
God,
same
no.
time.
Yeah, I would cry.
I would die.
I
yeah.
would die.
I would
so
die.
And I also got married.
She
So
did.
you planned a wedding
She
in the
planned a
middle
wedding.
of all of it. Just,
that's incredible.
casually. That's
Like
I cried. I was there. We were all there.
you're like, she's got tests on Friday, but we're gonna celebrate
we
today.
have tests. It was during Thanksgiving time, so she was almost over, thankfully.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, that is just amazing. It sounds like with the opportunities that are available in this career, it just sounds like also there's clear pathways.
Yeah, and there's so your question, like, where can you go from here? I think that MLT MLS is a wonderful stepping stone if you want to further your education, if you want to go to medical school, PA school. Lab knowledge is so good to have. That is so good to have. It is never gonna hurt you. It's only gonna help you.
Yeah.
We had some medical students come through. I started last summer with the VCOM students that were doing their clinicals
Right.
at the hospital come through the lab, because we get doctors asking questions all the time, and they just don't understand the process of how things are done, and that's fair. They
Wow.
don't see it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I'm like, bring them to the lab. Let me do a lab tour. Let me show them how this stuff works. And let them know that, like, we are educated people that know what we're talking about. If you have questions,
Yes.
call us. Like, let us help you. But there was a guy that was a VCOM student. He was an MLS in Arkansas, and so he
Cool.
Yeah, he was like, oh yeah, like I know all. And so I'm in micro showing him all kind of stuff, and he's like, yeah, that's that. And
He's
that's
like,
that.
it's
And
a
I'm
throwback for
I'm
me.
like, how cool is that? You know this stuff, like that is
Right.
only going to help you. So it's definitely a good background to have if you want to further your education, but also if you do bridge to MLS, the growth opportunities as far as becoming a lab manager and a lab director, you don't have to have any additional degrees. You don't have to have
that's true.
Yeah, like you can just have your bachelor's and be the lab director.
Wow.
And there's not a lot of jobs that'll do that. Like you need a master's or whatever, you know, to kind of climb that ladder, and you don't need that in MLS, which is
That's
nice.
unique.
Yeah,
It is unique.
and then also just different avenues as far as you can go into quality. Like there's a lot of governing agencies that govern the lab and kind of tell us how, like what we can do, what we can't
Set
do.
the standards.
Yeah, like we can't just plug in an instrument and start running patient specimens on it.
Right.
There's a lot of validation and stuff that goes into making sure that instrument is giving accurate results. And they kind of tell us how to do that. And when we bring on new tests, how to make sure that that's okay before we start patient testing. So you can go into that. You can become somebody who works for those agencies, and you can like never work the bench anymore. And when I say work the bench, it means like deal with the patient specimens. You can work for those people that make sure your lab is doing everything correctly. That way, when you get inspected every 2 years, you have no deficiencies, because they will come, they will look through all of your paperwork, all of your different binders and stuff that you have, and make sure, they'll walk through and make sure you're doing everything in accordance to their guidelines. And so that's cool. You can also go into like all the different instruments that are used in the lab. It's very automated. You can work for the people that make the chemistry analyzer or the coag analyzer or hematology. And I have a friend, she was in the lab. She works from home now, and she works for a company that makes lab instruments. And they if you have problems, if somebody in the lab is having problems, they'll call her, and she can kind of walk you through it. So
technology.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. It's like, and so she works from home now. She doesn't even work in the lab. So it's really cool. There's a lot of opportunities.
Technical consulting, that's also a part of it. When you said that, you reminded me about that path. You can become a technical consultant as well. And as well as that, outside of just getting your bachelor's, there are masters and even doctorates now for clinical lab science. So someone I used to work with went to Rutgers and got her doctorate in clinical lab science. They have a very great program there. And then you're on the same wavelength, or the same, I guess, educational background as the pharmacist and as the physical therapist, because you have your doctorate degree as well.
Right.
So you are an expert as it relates to lab, clinical lab sciences. So, and you can do many different things with that, become lab directors, run labs, have multiple labs. So the girl that I'm talking about, she's over multiple labs in the area.
Right.
And so I think
administrative roles.
Yeah, administrative.
And like a lot of labs have pathologists that kind of sign off on everything. She can act as that person instead of the pathologist to sign off on all of the stuff in the lab.
Right.
So.
Absolutely.
So you go everywhere,
Yes.
and you can even go to Delta like Dr. Jones, because you can be an educator.
You can also become an educator. I want everyone to teach. So please don't get me on that. I want everybody to come teach. I think Caroline, if she wants to teach, she can be an amazing educator, because she knows, but you also have to have a certain demeanor to educate. And so like how Jade was talking about how she enjoys teaching, Jade is one of our preceptors that goes above and beyond. Jade makes her own schedule. Let me tell you something about Jade. Jade has her own way she wants to do it, and I let her do it because she knows what she's an expert. She's truly an expert, and she enjoys teaching. And so I am one of those types of from a leadership perspective, I like people to operate in the way that makes them feel comfortable. And so Jade has her way, and I let her do her way. Okay,
yes, ma'am.
But it's because she's really good at it, and she's, from the bench perspective, you have to have a certain temperament to be an educator, and to deal with the mistakes.
And there's people who don't like it, and that's
exactly
fine. You don't want I never want students to come in and have to be with somebody who doesn't want to teach them, because I've been in that position where you just feel like you're in the way. Like you're a bother. Nobody wants to show you anything. And some people just want to come to work, do their job, and leave, and that's fair. I get it. But I try to think of like the kind of person I wanted and like the kind of person that I enjoyed being with as a student, and try to
walk that line.
Be like that. But there are people who don't want to teach, and that's fine.
Right.
I get it. You want to clock in, do
not
your job,
everybody
and
can
clock out.
teach.
Yes. So, you got to go with your skill set, and certain people. That's why I like I said, I encourage Caroline, because I can look at students and see what they're going to be good at.
Yes.
I can see it in them. Like, you may not see it today, but in 10 years, if it might be something that you might want to pivot into. And even with Jade, like, she's just good at it. She has the temperament for it. She has the heart for it, the heart for students. And so education is something that I think a lot of people that go into MLS, like, it is really great to be in industry, because you can kind of leave work at work. And, and, from a financial standpoint, working as an MLS is a great financial decision. It can be lucrative, and you can do well for yourself. But with education, it's a little bit different, but it's
rewarding in a different way.
But it has great trade-offs. And I'm able to really, make a difference in students' lives and be connected to them, hopefully for the rest of their lives. So I see my program director now, because I'm a program director, so I see her all the time. And, I remember how she impacted my life and how she changed the trajectory of my life. And I try to tell her that, as often as I see her. So, yeah. Educators for the win.
It sounds like this industry, you think, oh, you're behind the scenes, you're in a lab, you're not talking to anybody, but there is this human element to it, and the networking and the network that you have, Dr. Jones, that helped us have these people here today, to talk about it. I have a question about like current issues in the medical lab industry, and it's the A word. AI.
What were we talking about?
I feel like we go to all, like, even in my profession, we go to all these conferences, and it's just like AI. So I hate to bring it up, but there are some talk that I've just researched myself about AI replacing or enhancing or whatever you think it might be doing in some of the things y'all have to do, like in the lab. What do y'all think about that? Like, have you been hearing talk? I don't know. I
think everything kind of has its place if it's done, correctly. The lab is very automated in general. We have a lot of instrumentation, but at the end of the day, that's an instrument. It does not have a brain. It cannot think. And I know AI is
a little bit more educated.
Educated. Like, I get it. But also, you have to think about, and again, I'm coming from a micro perspective, when we're looking at these plates and these organisms, not everything looks like it's supposed to look in the textbook. There's so much
nuance.
Yeah, well, it's just so many mutations from people not taking their antibiotics correctly or whatever. And these organisms evolve, and they look different, like very atypical. And we are seeing that more and more. And it's like, at some point, like, is it going to know that this crazy looking thing is E. coli when it looks nothing like it's supposed to? Or you have to have some kind of human eyes on there that has a brain to think and to kind of take into consideration lots of different factors.
Yes.
I don't think that would ever go away. I think that it just wouldn't be good results that you would be putting out. Now, does it have a place? I'm sure it does. I'm sure that it can help us with workflow and stuff like that, but also, like, you have to have a person there. You know, you have to have somebody there looking at it, because even, like, with instruments, it's going to run what you tell it to run. Like, but when those results come back, you have a crazy result, you have to investigate that. Like, why is this result? What happened to
What's
this?
irregular?
Is this hemolyzed? Did they pour over from a different tube, like when they drew the blood? There's things you have to think about, like why I have a result and this result is not compatible with life. And you have a patient upstairs, you go to call this critical, and they're like, they're fine. Like, they're, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like, okay, well, what happened here? So then you have to go back and try to figure out what went wrong or what went down to get this crazy result. And so there's a lot of things that humans have to do, and I don't know that we would ever fully get replaced by something like AI, but
what do you think, Caroline?
At least.
That, I mean, the pre-analytical issues that can happen a lot because everybody's human, and there's always different situations where you're trying to get samples from a patient. And if there is some kind of issue with that, you have to have a human there to see, like, oh, they poured it over from this, or oh, this is hemolyzed, so you can go back and reteach them for that issue to be fixed, so it doesn't continue to be an issue throughout.
I think societally, it's also just a trust issue. Like, I can have a relationship with you and trust you, but, like, ChatGPT, I don't know her, and she don't know me, and I don't know her. You know, and it's hard to build trust with something that you can't see and touch and feel. And I mean, there's so much trust between the doctors and y'all, the nurses and y'all, the data you're getting from them, and the data you're putting out. It's hard to see, like you said, AI having a place in that.
AI freaks me out so much. It freaks me out so much. I'm like, I don't like it. But also, it has its place. I'm not going to say that it can't enhance anything. But I don't think it could ever replace fully, you know.
Especially in y'all's industry.
And AI is only as good as it's as the information that it has, the how updated the information it has is. And to her point about when you're talking about things like genetics, you know, we were like, a good micro example was we ordered some Pseudomonas aeruginosa and they sent us Para aeruginosa, and we were like, oh, what's going on with this, you know, like, and they were talking about how, you know, things have been renamed and things have been updated, and so you have to be current. And sometimes that takes a human touch. And so these tools, and to your point about analyzers, like, you know, from when my mom and them were mouth pipetting. You know,
we've come a ways.
We've come a ways. You know, we've come a ways, and there are things that, you know, we don't do anymore, that we don't do because we have analyzers. But what happens to analyzers? They go down. They go down. So we always have to have a backup plan that is, you know, a human, you know, aspect of the backup plan. What do you do for downtime? What do you do when the analyzers go down? What do you do when the computer system goes down?
I didn't even think about that.
And that happens. That happens. You know,
technology is wonderful until it doesn't work.
Exactly.
And then you're in a bind.
You're in a bind.
Wow, I didn't even think about that. I even think about, like, COVID, you know, in 2020 when things really hit the fan, and like how busy the labs probably filled up.
It was crazy. It was craziness.
I was
imagine. Also pregnant. I literally gave birth the week after quarantine happened.
Wow. So you have March baby.
March 30th. March 30th. So that was a crazy experience, because then I was on maternity leave, so I missed a lot of it, and I came back in the summer, and it was like,
you couldn't imagine what was happening during maternity leave.
It was wild.
That's
crazy. Wild time for sure.
I want to just ask y'all, kind of as a last question, what is broadly the future of medical lab science? What do you see coming over the hill that you're like, oh, should I start incorporating this in the curriculum, or something new y'all are seeing?
I don't know about anything new in particular, but what I do hope is that there is a more some more awareness of the lab. There's more, I guess, working together within the hospital, all the different departments to come together to take care of patients. I want there to be more collaboration between the lab and radiology, or the lab and the doctors, the lab and the nurses, because we all play a very important role in patient care. And when we work together, the patient gets treated better. So my hope is that, and I do try to do this, is to kind of spread awareness about what we do, bring light to the profession, whether that be to prospective students or even people already in the healthcare field. Like what we do, like we are educated, we know, we are very educated in our field. And so just like I know nothing about nursing, you know what I mean? And I love to learn about what people do. I have a friend who is in the hospital a lot, and I've stayed with her, and just like seeing the different stuff that they do, like you've seen people hook up to the IVs. Those, how do you know what all of those wires are?
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people don't realize, like, they know how to do all that kind of stuff, but I also know how to do all kind of cool stuff too. But you just don't see it because it's in the lab. And so I like to bring people down. If they have a question, come see me. Come see how this is done. I've done that with medical students. And I'm happy to do it with anybody who wants to come and look at the lab. But that's my hope. Anyways, I'm rambling.
I think about like an ecosystem, you know, in any organization, things talk to each other and rely on each other.
I think that sometimes the lab gets forgotten about again because nobody sees us. And also, like, it's kind of easy to blame us for stuff. Like, I get, you know what I mean? Like, oh,
because you're not there.
You're not there, and I get it. I can't say I wouldn't do it either.
The lab's taking a long time.
The lab's
Right.
taking forever, or like they lost a specimen and it's like it was never drawn. Or,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And sometimes, like in situations like that, it's just even doing the smallest things can help a culture of an organization. Like just say hey to the nurses, you know, like when you see them, and like I always hear like it's kind of an introverted profession where you can kind of be, you know, by yourself. But it's good to like have those relationships, even with, you know, the random nurse, the random doctor, or whatever. So that you can,
for sure,
you know, it sets your future communication up for that success.
And they know, like we talk to doctors and nurses on the phone all the time, and I want them when they call to be able to ask me a question and trust the answer that I'm giving them, and think, you know, she knows what she's talking about. I can take that into consideration and treat the patient, you know.
Right.
So that's my hope.
I love that.
Yeah.
I would say my hope is the same thing. Like, one thing that we have to do, and it is a NACLS requirement, but also it's just a great practice, is that we have interprofessional education here where we join up with the other allied health programs and nursing programs, and we have a joint training. And so what my hope is with that, and as we start to have more doctorate of clinical lab science programs, that the way that we kind of have this awareness of pharmacy programs and physical therapy programs, it'll now be a DCLS or just an MLS will be a part of the healthcare team. For these patients. Like, I want to see
that officiality.
That officiality. Like, it's, you know, it's not to be an education snob, but it's just to say,
it's important too.
Like, we need somebody that has lab knowledge, because they can tell them and give them insight into, especially when we're talking about things like, you know, microbes and things that you're not learning that, you know, you're not doctors, they're learning of it and around it, but the learning the nitty gritty of some of these things, that's a lab person's job, you know? And so, that would be my hope. And even with our own program, being able to get more funding, to be able to expand our program, we've been able to purchase an analyzer. We have analyzers that have been donated to us.
That's amazing.
Thankfully. And so I'm hoping that we'll be able to do even more and get even more. We just got some electrophoresis instruments today. So just being able to do more, you know.
Yeah, prepare those students for the future. You have anything, Caroline?
That, honestly, to your point, like interprofessional conversations are so important. And even as a student, I've seen it in the lab time and time again, where the nurses will come down and ask for something because somebody needs a specific culture for something and they don't know what they're grabbing, and someone will come off and help them And sometimes doctors call down and don't know what's going on with their specimen or don't know why it's not put in. And it's very important to have those conversations and a good relationship with one another to be able to have the patient benefit the most and get the most out of their healthcare team.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I also really love this program and would love to do all of the reach out and going to schools
Yeah.
to
Right.
let kids know that like there's so many different options with this profession.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or
And
even that it
this program.
exists.
It exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
that
a big
exists.
thing.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
that's how I learned about it. They came to my high school and they did a little blood bank lab. And that's how I found out that like this was what I wanted to do.
That's awesome.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can do those outreach roles and and help inspire other people to do it.
Now y'all heard her say that now.
Yeah,
So,
it's on
so
camera.
When it's time, Caroline said. All right.
Exactly. And it's so funny how I'm a comms girl. Communications is just, it extends into every single thing.
Yes.
So y'all basing so much of like the future of MLS on the importance of communication is just, it's speaking to me. And I just want to say thank y'all for coming on this podcast today. Do y'all have anything else y'all want to say, shout out, or thank right now?
Thank you to anyone who's interested in the program who has already applied.
Yes.
Our
Applications are still open
until June 1st. We do have a competitive program. I generally accept between 20 to 23 students every cohort, and that's just in part because we have a limited amount of clinical sites. Thank you to all of our clinical partners. If I shout them all out, then I'm going to miss someone.
We're going to be here for a while,
We'll be here
too.
for a while, but thank you to all of our preceptors like Jade, who help us with our students, and thank you to all our students. Cohort Alpha and Beta are amazing, so amazing, and so they're killing the game. So shout out to Cameron, who does our marketing. Shout out to Cameron who does our marketing. She's great.
This is my favorite thing. So
Yeah.
it's literally, I'm just thank everybody for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Do you want to shout out St. Francis?
St. Francis. I mean,
Shout out to St. Francis.
shout out to St. Francis. I love
Yes.
our job. Love what I do.
Yeah, awesome.
Love getting to teach the students that we get. So
Yes,
Yeah.
awesome. You got a shout out, Caroline?
Thank you for all of the lab educators. out
Yes.
there.
Shout out to them.
Important roles.
I know.
Happy Lab Week,
Happy
everybody.
Lab Week,
Happy Lab
folks.
Week.
Happy Lab Week.